Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Manchester United will spend big in the summer transfer window according to reports. But Solskjaer says we will keep transfers quiet. Now, I'm expecting Solskjaer to get good backing in the summer transfer window, because Woodward believes Solskjaer is the right man to lead the club forward. He released a statement earlier on this season saying that the progress by Solskjaer and the players this season is clear. And in general, Woodward's come out several times to show his support for Solskjaer, even when was enduring them really bad periods. Plus, we've got John Murtough, he's our director of football, and John Murtough knows the club inside out because he's been at Man United since 2014. And Darren Fletcher, he's our technical director. And Solskjaer's already had a meeting with our recruitment team discussing our transfer targets and our transfer plans for the summer in general. This year's summer transfer window is huge for Manchester United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It will be Solskjaer's 5th transfer window as permanent Man United manager. Now, I think in the summer transfer window, Man United need a striker. I think we need a right winger. We need a defensive midfielder, and we also need a centre half. I reckon Solskjaer needs around £200 million if he's to get the players he wants to recommend in. Now, you know the news on Erling Haaland. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has played down talks over Man United chasing Erling Haaland. He said he'll make his own mind up. Now, Erling Haaland's agent, Mino Raiola, has flown out to England for talks with Manchester United and several Premier League clubs. Mino Raiola and Erling Haaland recently held talks with Barcelona, and they also held talks with Real Madrid. Now, there was narratives coming out the other week saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer keeps calling Erling Haaland to persuade him to join Manchester United. Earlier on this season, he said that Ole was following Erling Haaland's progress and he's keeping in touch with Erling Haaland. Solskjaer's worked with Haaland. He gave him his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. So it'd be good to see Ole reunite with the player. Back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went to Norway to meet up with Erling Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. Borussia Dortmund have revealed their asking price. It's 154 million. Dortmund will find it extremely difficult to sell Haaland if they are demanding that much. Erling Haaland's father, Alf-Inge Haaland, has spoken about his son's career and his prospects, and he's spoken about his son's transfer links to Man United before. He recently said Haaland is demanding £600,000 a week from his next club. He's been at Borussia Dortmund over a year. He's been a revelation since his arrival at Dortmund. Dortmund paid just £17 million for him. He's under contract with Dortmund until 2024. He does have a £68 million release clause, but it doesn't become active until next year. Now, Jaden Sanchez, he's still on our agenda, but according to Fabrizio Romano, we have not yet made a decision on Jaden Sanchez. He says we are still interested. We believe there's a chance we can get him for a cut price fee of £50 million. Quite a few times Jaden Sanchez has visited our Carrington training ground. Earlier on this season he made an admission saying that he has endured a difficult season at Borussia Dortmund. He said earlier on this season we paused our transfer pursuit of Sanchez due to the progress of Mason Greenwood. Bild said earlier on this season that Dortmund reduced their asking price for Sanchez to £88 million. Last summer, he was our number one priority target, but the main explanation we didn't get him is because we was reluctant to meet Dortmund's £108 million valuation. We was only willing to pay so much up front. We had until the 10th of August to sign Sanchez last summer. We missed out on that deadline, so Sanchez remained at Dortmund. But last summer it said the personal terms had been agreed, the agent fees had been agreed, and even a contract had been agreed. And Fabrizio Romano, who's a very reliable Italian journalist and close to Man United, he's spoken a lot about the Sanchez saga, and Bill's Christian Falk has spoken about it before. Analysing the vast majority of his career at Dortmund, he's been very consistent. This is his 4th season at Borussia Dortmund. He's got a contract with Dortmund until 2023. Dortmund got him for next to nothing. They just paid £8 million for him from Man City back in 2017. He enjoyed a couple of years at Man City. He left Man City because he didn't get assured any first team opportunities, and before he was at City, he was at Watford. He was at Watford from the age of 7 to the age of 14. And don't forget, we was willing to offer him that number 7 shirt. We won't sign Haaland and Sancho. If we do sign, it will be just one of them. There has been a lot of narratives coming out regarding Ousmane Dembele recently. Spanish outlet Sport said that Man United have increased their interest in Ousmane Dembele, and we've been monitoring his displays this season. We've been talking with his representatives, and we are preparing a bid. Ousmane Dembele, I think, is valued at around £50 million. Don't forget, we wanted to get him on loan with an option to buy, I think it was last year. Fabrizio Romano has revealed that Ousmane Dembele is set for contract talks with Barcelona. He's got like 15 months left on his current contract. He's been at Barcelona for quite a few years now. Barcelona got him in a deal worth £135 million from Dortmund. Barcelona paid like £97 million up front. Ousmane Dembele sustained quite a few injuries at Barcelona, so he is injury prone, so that is my element of concern. I don't think he's been great at Barcelona. I liked him when he was at Dortmund, and I also liked him when he was at Rennes. There has been quite a few centre-halves on our agenda. There's been good news coming out regarding Raphael Varane. The Spanish transfer expert Eduardo Inda says that Raphael Varane could be on his way to Manchester United in the summer transfer window. Spanish newspaper ABC have said that Real Madrid have set a £51 million asking price for Raphael Varane. Raphael Varane's contract talks with Real Madrid have stalled. He's under contract with Madrid until 2022. Now, there was narratives coming out earlier on this season saying that Real Madrid are prepared to sell Raphael Varane on one condition: he must inform Real Madrid on his decision to leave. Back in 2018, Woodward was prepared to sanction a £100 million move. And his future is in doubt. Mundo Deportivo said that the other week. Now, I'd certainly take Rafael Varane at Man United. He'd go very well alongside Maguire in our back line. He's a world-class centre-half. He's been at Real Madrid for like 10 years. He's won 18 major honours. He's made over 300 appearances. Real Madrid paid just €10 million for him from Lens. Jules Koundé, he's been another centre-half on our agenda. Sevilla have slapped a £68 million price tag on Jules Koundé. Romano was talking about it recently. He said Sevilla's £68 million asking price is complicating a deal. But he said he's one of the most appreciated players on Man United's radar. Now, it said a couple of weeks ago that we'd been handed a boost in our bid to sign Jules Koundé because it said Sevilla had reduced their asking price to £50 million. Jules Koundé's buyout clause is £68 million. But I'd certainly take him at Manchester United because his performances for Sevilla have been very, very good. He's been at Sevilla almost 2 years. Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019 and he's under contract with them until 2024. Pau Torres, he's been another centre-half on our agenda. Ramos has been on our agenda. So what players should Man United sign in the summer transfer window? I'm expecting us to make around 3 or 4 signings. We are going to sell players in the summer transfer window, so in that aspect we'll generate money and it'll help us with our rebuilding process. It looks like Cavani's going to be leaving Man United. Footballer Inside have said that Cavani will take a pay cut to join Boca Juniors. He's already got a verbal agreement with Boca Juniors. We recently held showdown talks with Cavani over his future at the club. We want to convince him to stay. Edison Cavani's current contract expires at the end of the season. The Uruguay coach recently urged Edison Cavani to leave. Now, Solskjaer said earlier on this season he's hopeful that Cavani will stay, and he revealed that we have been in contract discussions with him. But Ollie said earlier on this season that Edison Cavani is closer to Boca Juniors than staying at Manchester United. Edison Cavani's father came out and said that Cavani's unhappy, he's not comfortable in England and he wants to leave. And prior to that, reports from Argentina were saying that Cavani's decided to leave after 1 season. Cavani sustained a few injuries at Man United, but I think he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. We got him on a free transfer last summer. He signed a 1-year contract with Man United with an option of a 2nd year. Anthony Martial, there's a lot of Manchester United fans that are saying we need to sell him because he's no longer good enough to represent the club, and Martial has been out of form for the vast majority of this season. The chances have been there for him, but he hasn't converted them. Martial's actually got an injury at the moment. He had an hip injury not so long ago and he had an injury prior to that. I reckon Martial's had 2 good seasons at Man United. He was good last season and he was good in his debut season under Van Gaal. Martial's been at the club now over 5 years. We got him in a deal worth $54 million from Monaco, and I think it was last season Solskjaer gave him that number 9 shirt. Juan Mata, good chance we're going to offload him because he doesn't get in our team, and plus my element of concern, he's lost that yard of pace and he's ageing up. Juan Mata's current contract expires in June. We do have an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Earlier on this season, he rejected an $18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. That was at the first part of this season. Yeah, it was actually towards the start of this season he rejected that. But I think Juan Mata's had a good career at Man United. You know, we got him from Chelsea back in 2014. Got him in a deal worth $40 million. Or just under $40 million it was. And he's been at Man United almost 7 years now. Donnie Van Der Beek, good chance we're going to offload him. I think we should offload him. The reason is because he's not getting enough opportunities at Manchester United. It said Man United are considering a swap deal for Donnie Van Der Beek. 2 Sport recently mentioned that we're willing to offer Donnie Van Der Beek to Juventus in exchange for Adrian Rabiot. Mark Hughes was talking about Van Der Beek not so long ago. He said he feels lost at Man United and he's edging closer to a Man United exit. He said the other week, though, that Donnie Van Der Beek feels loved at Man United despite his lack of game time. But prior to that, he said Donnie Van Der Beek wants to quit Man United after 1 season due to his lack of game time, and he wanted to hold showdown talks with Ed Woodward over his future. Most of Van Der Beek's appearances this season have come from the bench. He's only started 2 games in the league. He was out of injury for a while, though, at one point. ESPN said back in January that we rejected several loan offers for Van Der Beek because we was reluctant to let him go. We got him in a deal worth £40 million for Ajax last summer, and he's versatile. He can play in 3 different roles. Paul Pogba, it looks very likely he's going to be leaving Manchester United in the summer transfer window, because Paul Pogba still wants to quit Manchester United. He's rejected a contract. Di Marzio recently said that Paul Pogba's got no intentions of extending his contract at Manchester United, and his preferred destination is Juventus. I think we are willing to do a swap deal with Juventus. Juventus want a Paul Pogba swap deal. It recently said they're willing to offer us Paulo Dybala for Paul Pogba. Fabrizio Romano come out and recently said that Juventus are refusing to give up on re-signing Paul Pogba. Said there's a good chance he'll go back there because he did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus before he rejoined Manchester United. But he's had a long-running transfer saga. Man only being linked to a return to Juventus. Real Madrid have been relentlessly linked with him, and PSG have been in for him. You know, we've been getting the best out of Pogba in recent months. And he obviously came on against Milan and made an instant impact and scored the goal. Paul Pogba brings creativity to the team, and I think he's more effective in more of an advanced role, which is that left-hand side. Don't forget, he was out with a thigh injury for a while. First part of this season was out with an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. So, sustained a few injuries now at Man United. Nemanja Matic, good chance we'll sell him because Nemanja Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but he still gets his chances. Most of his games at Man United has been inconsistent, but there's also been some games where he's showed consistency. I think the club made a mistake giving him that new 3-year contract. Matic has been at the club now almost 4 years. We got him in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Phil Jones, I'm expecting him to leave. Jones is the only outfield player that's still here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. And this is his 10th season at Man United, so he's been along 7, but he's always been inconsistent. Jones has been out of injury for over a year. Axel Tuanzebe, will we offload him because he doesn't get in our 11? De Gea, will we sell him in the summer transfer window? And I think we'll also be looking to get rid of Diego Dalot permanently. I'm hearing that Inter Milan are interested in Eric Bailly. As far as I'm aware, contract talks are on hold for Eric Bailly because he wants assurances over his playing time. Bailly, the other week, apologised to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and his Man United teammates for his disrespectful behaviour, because it did mention that Bailly was furious with Ole because he felt disrespected and not wanted by him. Bailly said he believes we're only offering him a new contract to simply increase his asking price. Bailly's got like 15 months left, or is it 14 months now left on his current contract. But there's players that will stay at Manchester United in the summer transfer window. There's some players that I think have got long-term futures at the club. Luke Shaw will stay. Luke Shaw's been one of our best players this season. He's been absolutely superb. Harry Maguire will stay. I don't know about long term. Maguire's had some good games this season. He's also had some poor games, but he wasn't worth the £80 million we got him for. He's the second most expensive signing at the club and the most expensive centre-half in the world at the moment. Lindelof, I don't think he's got a long-term future at Man United, but I think he'll stay potentially past the summer. I've got my strong reservations about Victor Lindelof. We got Lindelof from Benfica for £31 million in 2017. He's had some good games, but most of his games he's been too inconsistent. I prefer Bailly alongside Maguire than Lindelof alongside Maguire because Bailly and Maguire complement each other far better than Lindelof alongside Maguire. Wan-Bissaka, yeah, he'll stay. I think he's got a long-term future at Manchester United. We got Wan-Bissaka in a deal worth £50 million from Crystal Palace in the summer of 2019. He's had good games at Man United. He's also had poor games. In his good games, he's shown good attacking intent. He's got into very good crossing positions and his crossing's been good and defensively been good. But in these games where he hasn't been good, he's been caught out far too many times, been too predictable, and he's lacked that attacking intent. He needs to show more attacking intent, definitely. Fred, I don't think he's a long-term for Man United, but I think he'll stay potentially past the summer. Maybe Ronnie may leave, but I think he'll stay. Fred wasn't worth the £52 million we got him for from Shakhtar Donetsk. Fred is not at that level yet. But he's had some good games where he's, broke up the play well, he's kept the ball well, his passing's been good and he's got forward well. But Fred had an abysmal game against Leicester in the FA Cup quarter-final before the international break. Gave the ball away countless times and he was accountable for Leicester's first goal. It was his worst game in a Manchester United shirt. Scott McTominay, decent player. He'll stay in the summer transfer window. I think he could have a long-term future at Man United. It depends if he can emulate to that level where we want him to be at. McTominay's still young. He's got a lot of development in him. Just after the first lockdown, he signed a 5-year contract with the club. Bruno Fernandez, he'll obviously stay in the summer transfer window. Will he be here long term? Bruno Fernandez is our best player and he's the best signing we have made since the Sir Alex Ferguson era. Fernandez has been at Man United now over a year. In most of his games he's been consistent, but there's also been a few games where he has looked off the pace, but that's because we've overplayed him. Bruno Fernandez said he'd come to Manchester to win trophies. It said earlier on this season he was refusing to sign a new contract until he had assurances over the club's transfer plans. It says we was prepared to double his wages to £200,000 a week. And Fernandez has won Player of the Month quite a few times, reflecting on his good performances. He's under contract with the club till 2025. There's an option to extend for a further year. We initially paid £47 million for Fernandez, but the overall cost with add-ons is just over £67 million. Obviously, Greenwood will stay. I think he's got a long-term future at Man United. He's been superb since he broke into our first-team squad. He made his senior debut in 2019. I think he's made, 90 appearances now or something like that in the first team or just under. Greenwood's been a United player since the age of 7, so he's been with us a long time now. And earlier on this season, Greenwood signed a new 4-year contract with the club. And at the start of this season, we'll give him that number 11 shirt. Sometimes Greenwood plays on the right wing, sometimes he plays up top. Marcus Rashford, we're obviously going to keep him as well. I think he's got a long-term future at Man United. He's a good player, but he doesn't always perform well. Sometimes he's quite poor. I just think we need to keep Marcus Rashford on that left-hand side because that's where he's more effective. Mamad Diallo Traore will obviously, he'll stay in the summer transfer window. I said Mamad Diallo Traore looks a good asset for the first team squad. We got him in a deal worth 37 million from Atlanta. We paid 19 million up front, and the rest was add-ons. So there you go. But Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like I've said in regards to him, I don't think he's a long-term manager for Manchester United. I hope I'm proven wrong. There's a lot of Man United fans that are Ollie out. Ollie outs were trending on social media after our 3-1 defeat to Leicester. They've obviously got main explanations why they want him out, but there's still some Man United fans that are Ollie in and they believe he needs more time. This is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's second full season. Next season will be his third full season. Because obviously he's going to be here next season, because if we fail to win the Europa League this season, Solskjaer will not be sacked. And I said Solskjaer needs to win a trophy at Manchester United, because he's not yet won a trophy as Man United manager, and we haven't won a trophy since 2017. And that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. So the Europa League's our only chance of winning any silverware this season. As you all know, Solskjaer has agreed a 3-year contract worth 30 million. Sources at Old Trafford did say a few weeks ago that talks were set to begin any day on the new deal, because Ole is now into the final year of his current 3-year contract. A lot of United fans disagree with us giving him a new contract, but does he deserve a new contract? In some aspects, yeah. In some aspects, no. But even if we wanted to sack Solskjaer now, we wouldn't be able to, because no one is available at the moment to replace him, as far as I'm aware anyway. And it wouldn't really solve much if we sack him, because when we have been inconsistent, not all of the blame has stemmed from him. The main explanation is still Manchester United manager is because he is a club legend. Disregarding him being a club legend, I can almost assure he wouldn't have been Man United manager now. And we have enjoyed very bad periods under Ollie where you can turn around and say, yeah, he was lucky not to be sacked. But reflecting how long Solskjaer's been at the football club, he has gained some managerial experience and that. And he's tried a few different elements at the club. He's been Man United manager now over 2 years. My two biggest concerns about him, like I've said before, is that he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager, and his decision making is my other concern. And I just think that Ole is in a position he shouldn't be really in. Did the club give him the job too soon? Maybe we should have waited until the end of that particular season to decide or not whether to give him the job. But Solskjaer did very, very well as the interim manager, didn't he, in that 3-month period? So that's why the club gave him the job permanently in March 2019. Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the club inside out. But we've got to credit him for quite a lot of things. Solskjaer's made good signings as Man United manager. He's spent, nearly £300 million. He's brought Dan James, Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire in. Also brought Bruno Fernandez in. Brought Agallo in. Agallo left in January of this year. Obviously brought Donnie Van Der Beek in, Alex Telles, Edison Cavani, Amad Diallo, Traore and Facundo Pellistri. Facundo Pellistri went out on loan in January. And Solskjaer has promoted the youth well, because he's given young players their chances and he's brought more young players into the club. Ole did well last season in his first full season at the club. He got us to 3 semi-finals, got us a 3rd place finish and got us qualification for the Champions League. This season got us to the EFL Cup semi-final, got us to the FA Cup quarter-final and got us to the Europa League quarter-final. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. I think we are unbeaten in our last 22 Premier League away games. And Solskjaer's also got rid of a lot of players since he's come in, and we have enjoyed good periods under him where we have seen consistency, and we are second in the Premier League, and at one point he got us top of the Premier League. You know what I mean? But in the last 8 years, we haven't been the same team. We've been playing catch-up. It's just been an ongoing cycle of inconsistency. You know, mistakes have been made in the last 8 years, and that's why we haven't been as consistent as we'd like to have been, obviously. I think the board's been one of the biggest issues at the club. Obviously, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've also overpaid for players. And in general, the managers that we've had since Ferguson retired haven't got the players they wanted to recommend in. 3 managers have been sacked since Ferguson. That was David Moyes, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho. So all is our 4th permanent manager since Ferguson. You know, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, which is 8 years ago now. So yeah, this is good news that Man United will be spending big in the summer. So hopefully we can get the right players in. So anyway, guys, we'll be back with more videos tomorrow. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always. And take care. God bless. See you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.